Gary, please tell us how you got to physical, how long you have done these things, and what happened in America. What did they tell you?
Hi all, thanks for tuning in. Apologies for my voice, it shouldn't affect the trance. I've had a bad voice the last 5-6 months now from too many seances. It is getting better now that I'm back and time to recover, but it goes every now and then. So physical, I've been doing physical now for 9-10 years now, I think. I kind of lost count.
I think a bit longer, a few longer.
Possibly. I've been doing the healing for 18 years. I've been doing healing now with Abraham. So I kind of fell into physical. I was good friends with another physical medium who kept telling me to sit for physical. I kept putting it off. Eventually, this person did a seance at my house, so the room was already blacked out. So I agreed to sit because the room was already blacked out, and we had phenomena first time. So that kind of encouraged me to kind of keep sitting. When I first started, I was meant to be sitting for healing seances. But because we were getting normal phenomena, I started sitting for normal seances and just kind of ignored the healing seances. But in the last few years, we have started doing healing seances, and they're now getting quite popular and going quite well. And a lot of people are preferring them. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
That is a good nutshell. So anyone here who was in the seances in America? Laurie, quick, tell us what happened at your house.
A great healing seance. Everyone was touched. One guy was levitated in his chair. The ectoplasm came out white and then red at the last, but the most amazing thing I thought this time was an ectoplasmic arm came out of the cabinet, dropped apports like that. Oh, and next thing we know, we're all getting oils on our heads, and they transported the whole container into the middle of the room with the oils in it, and we all have healing oil that I'd like to know how to use.
Yes, I just had my hand up to say that I have been at one of the seances on July 4th, and similar phenomena. We hold hands in a circle, and the woman I was holding hands with happened to have, we had a hand laid on top of our two. That was very interesting. Also, like Gloria, an arm came out of the cabinet, and each of us were able to go up and actually touch it, and it just felt like a regular human hand with human arm with ectoplasm on it. We also saw the white shrouded figure, which I've seen in a seance with Gary before, and this time the shrouded figure didn't go far from the cabinet, but did touch one of the participants, so that was interesting to watch. We also received the oil, and the other is that we saw ectoplasm coming out of Gary's mouth. And for July 4th, at first it was red, and then the cabinet closed, open again. It was white, the cabinet closed, open again, and it was blue, so rather patriotic. So those are some of the experiences that I had with at the seance.
Thank you. Sherry?
We also had a wonderful night. My night was July 8th, and some of the things were similar. We did not have the oil, but we did have the arm and the hand, and everyone did get to be touched and touch the hand. But what was really incredible was that we had this little luminous ball. It was in the middle of the room, and I don't know if the light was inside the ball. Inga could probably tell us, but the ball itself had light, and it was lifted up, and it was, moved around the room, came very, very close to my eyes. And as I'm looking at it, I see it's being held by this little delicate hand. We were encouraged to speak out and say if we felt touched, so I just said, oh my God, it's being held by this really tiny, beautiful little hand, and a finger went 3 times, tapped my nose. It was a beautiful night for everyone. Everyone was touched. Everyone saw. And yes, the ectoplasm was white, and then they closed the tent, and the ectoplasm was red. It was a hell of a night at Winterbrooks. And I thank you, Gary. It was just great.
Yeah, the little balls are self-illuminated tennis ball. Is it tennis or golf? Golf, I think. And so they keep the charge for a little while. I always struggle a little bit to get that right, but
You know, and also I want to mention, just in case people don't realize, we had the little red lights on, the whole time. So you really do get to see a little bit more when you put the red lights on. It's just so obvious that there's no hanky-panky. You see it. What else do people need anyway? Thank you.
Yeah, we don't want hanky-panky in there.
Well,
It's not that sort of sitting.
we know that,
Anyone else before we go to the question and we send Mr. Mannion on his way?
Reverend Jane. Okay.
We were so very fortunate to have Gary here at the Hill in July of this year. And everything that everybody else mentioned happened. And he did 2 seances here. We were so fortunate. The one seance, I don't remember what was first or second of this, but the one seance, the seance water underneath the chair after the seance smelled like peaches. It was very, very strong. And we were informed that it was a healing water. And so we ended up sharing it with everybody. And Gary mentioned to me that there was one lady that had that happen to her before in another seance with the smell of the water. And she had issues with both her hands, and she put the water on the one hand, and the next day this hand was cleared up, and this hand that she did not was not cleared up. And then we had a hand coming out of the cabinet. They called me up. The hand took my one hand and rubbed it together and then went like this, and an apport fell out of the spirit's hand into my hand. And then we had another lady walk up during our seance for Gary, called up by Jimmy. I'll never forget her voice. She went up she was supposed to feel the medium's legs, and she couldn't feel them. They were there. There was no ties, there was no legs, there was nothing. It was so cool. And thank you very much, Gary. It was wonderful.
We had a lady in Switzerland just like that, and she's a biologist or whatever. And so Karen was there. It was hilarious how suddenly Jimmy's voice is over her head, but she's feeling Gary's back. And so she wrote a report. It's on Malaysia, and she was totally out there. My God, it was hilarious. She just goes, oh no, this is just a little bit too much for me. I don't know what to do with all this. Hilarious. It's a lot of fun as well. Yeah, precipitation is beautiful when you get a picture of one.
Yeah, getting quite good at it.
They're practicing, and we forget all the time that also they need to have practice to perfect phenomena. Everybody thinks, it was okay, they did something 100 years ago, now all the mediums should do it. No, actually, it's not the case. Each medium is different, each team is different, each phenomena is different.
That's
Hello, Abraham.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Then let us begin with the first question.
Okay, the question is, does Abraham have any solution for malaria throughout the world? Could a possible solution be research on mosquitoes that alter their ability to transmit the disease? Or, as in China, finding a cure in folk medicine of each country which brought a Nobel Prize to medicine?
If you'll speak to the medium afterwards, I can inspire the mind of a remedy which will help in this situation. As I look forward in your timeline when it comes to the treatment for the condition in question, as your medicine progresses, you will look at the way that this illness in question is transmitted rather than the treatment of the illness itself.
Okay, thank you. How do we use the healing oil that was supported by an ectoplasmic arm in the seance at my house, Laurie asked.
The oil in question acts as a carrier. You simply need to apply it to the body, to the skin, and the energy will go when necessary. It acts as a blueprint for your own blueprint, a stimulant for your own body's blueprint in its own healing process. So applying it anywhere to the body should be sufficient. However, if you want to apply it to an area where there is pain or discomfort, you can do so also.
Thank you. Will the truth be revealed to the world regarding the alleged ET present on Earth?
Bit by bit, disclosure will be brought to your side of life. Wherever information that is truth is brought out, much disinformation will follow. This is the process. This is what is done by those within your governments and governments who wish to use fear for control. So indeed, the truth will come out slowly and surely, but with every truth, there will be many distruths.
Thank you. In quantum entanglement, the same mechanic, is quantum entanglement the same mechanics as apports? And that has it anything to do with the Philadelphia experiment? Can the same principle be used consciously?
Indeed, it is a very different process. However, we will utilize the quantum mechanics as a byproduct of what we are attempting to do. We are more working with higher dimensions as well as your local space-time.
Karen, you don't understand? Do you want to add to that? Yeah? No. Okay. My ministry has closed down and I'm evolving myself into a speaker and life coach for the general public. What's the best way I might respect my spiritual beliefs while serving audiences and clients so I don't scare or offend them?
Indeed, as I focus on the energy of the question in question, I can advise that it took you long enough to take this inspiration, that you were inspired and to take this action. So indeed, you are on the right path. Education is on the right path for you. However, indeed, as I look at your energy as well, I would advise that your teaching, your education, will also come through demonstration, through your own development.
Thank you. Does everybody have a potential for physical mediumship? And how to tell if somebody has the potential?
Indeed, you are all spirit first and foremost. You often forget that spirit is the master, matter is the servant. When you allow the matter to become the master, then the spirit becomes the servant. So indeed, my friends, you are all spirit first and foremost. You do not lose the spiritual abilities, the spiritual capabilities, just because you are on a physical form, within a physical dimension, a physical sphere. However, the physical form, the physical world, has limitations. You are here to learn lessons and to gain experiences. So you will only call forth those abilities, those capabilities, which are necessary for you to carry out your experience. Because of this, different physical makeups will be better suited for certain types of phenomena within the physical mediumship sphere. So indeed, through development, through practice, through giving time as you experience time, to my side of life to sit in the power, to develop your circles, you will begin to learn and understand your strengths and weaknesses, and to develop into those strengths.
Thank
But
you.
everyone on your side of life has the potential.
Thank you. What can be done regarding all the violence in the United States?
To this, you must try to change this from within rather than outwards. The earthly mentality is to try to change those around you. But you must understand that everything you experience is your reality, your creation. If you wish to see something different within your reality, you must change it within your own vibration. You must also understand that yours is the world of duality. You exist in a world of duality due to the experiences, the lessons that are gained from it. So indeed, you cannot remove the duality, for you would find something else to start a war over. Instead, you must learn to see what the lesson is. and to make the changes to gain the experience so that you do not have to go through the experience within your reality again.
Thank you. Why do some people who are transitioning become stuck between the physical and the spiritual advanced dimensions?
It is not the personality which becomes stuck. This is a misunderstanding within your side of life. Indeed, when you return to my side of life, we're not governed by time in the same way that the physical sphere is. Time operates in a very different dimension, a different perspective than to those on your side of life. However, you must understand the physical form is made of many facets, many etheric, many energetic forms. And indeed, when one transitions from your side to my side, sometimes there can be emotional burdens, emotional attachments, which are still retained within the energy within your side of life, which could often then be misunderstood by those on your side of life that the soul, the personality is stuck. But indeed, that personality will return to my side of life and will go through the healing process as will any other individual.
Thank you. Can a spirit talk through a sleeping person?
Indeed, we would probably have a better chance of speaking through a sleeping medium than a medium whose mind is active and getting in the way. But in reality, if the conscious spark is not there, then we cannot stimulate the mind to get the results that we want. Though the medium may not be consciously aware, there is still an aspect of the self that retains awareness, and it is within this awareness that we can work with the form and work within the reality. If that consciousness is not retained, then we cannot control the energy. We cannot utilize your side of life as the medium in order to establish the link within your space, within your local space-time, within your sphere.
Thank you, Abraham. Abraham, would you please address dental repair and healing? Thank you.
How long have you got? This is a wide subject. If you could ask a more precise question on the subject, I will try to give you more of a precise answer.
Okay. Do you want to, Gabrielle Regan? Is there a question you have directly you would like to know in that? Not so broad? I can't see her, so I don't know. No?
Yes.
Okay, go. Hello.
Hello. How does Abraham think about root canals and implants?
There is a lacking within your current medical understanding. Most of your dental treatments will often trap bacteria and toxins within the body, within the gums. This then allows these toxins to leak into the blood system. And indeed, many conditions, especially those that have inflammation as their basis, can be tracked back to dental work that has been done, such as the treatments that you mentioned.
Thank you, Abraham.
Thank you.
Are children on Earth who are afflicted with autism still living partly on the other side when they're on the Earth?
From my side of life, we're not governed by time. Every moment that ever exists, that ever will exist, is occurring right now. Indeed, the reason for the affliction in question is not because part of the awareness, part of the soul is trapped within my side or retained within my side. It is simply how that personality is constructed through that physical form, which will have its limitations and capabilities, which then must adapt to your environment and to the energies around it. So indeed, they are no different than any other human within your side of life. But if you want to take the philosophical approach, then indeed all lives exist within your side and my side at the same time, because we are not governed by time.
Thank you, Abraham. Will the war in the Ukraine end soon?
Indeed, as I focus on the energy, there is more to be escalation and spreading of the dilemma before there is an end to the conflict.
Thank you. What does seeing flashes of light in the air on and off about a person mean if it is happening quite often to me? No problem with my eyes.
Indeed, we must first understand there may be a perfectly logical human reason for what you are experiencing, such as blood pressure. At other times, out of the corner of your eyes, out of the corner of your perception and awareness, you will sometimes experience spirit lights, flashes, which is your conscious mind becoming aware of the energy. The reason this is at the corner of your eyes is because you do not have the conscious control to block the interaction. Indeed, if you could become aware without interfering with the energy, you would experience this within your normal vision. But we must rule out natural occurrences, physical occurrences, modalities within the human form, which may also cause these symptoms.
Thank you, Abraham. What is your opinion on free will versus destiny for people here on Earth?
Indeed, my friends, nobody within my side of life will force you to carry out an experience or learn a lesson that you do not want to learn. Everything you experience is your choice. However, you make that choice from my side of life when you have the awareness of why you are making that decision, what it is you were to learn, why you were going through an experience in a certain way. Indeed, as I look at the actions of mankind, it is hard enough to keep you on the planet when things are planned out. I dare say if they were not planned out, you would not be here now.
Thank you. Will mankind be able to reverse climate change?
Indeed, you will first learn to adapt, and then you will learn to overcome the adversities that have been caused. There will be some lasting damages, which will take much time as you experience time. But indeed, the more you learn to explore the planets outside of your current planet, the more the technologies necessary to heal and resurrect your own planet will come to the forefront.
Thank you. Can you explain to us about time travel? Does it exist? And if so, how is this possible?
Indeed, it is entirely possible, but there are limitations which are placed upon the physical sphere, some that are imposed from my side of life, and some that are imposed from your side of life. But indeed, if we want to get to the philosophical, everything you experience is just down to your perspective. You experience this as an individual moment because your perspective is limited. If you can expand or adapt your perception, then time is just a concept.
Thank you. We are aware that there are several bridges being built for ITC. How successful will these be? Will we be able to surpass the work of the teams in the 80s?
Indeed, within my side of life, we do not make the effort to try something for no reason. Indeed, if we develop something within your side of life, we will always have the intention to adapt upon it, to progress beyond it, beyond our current limitations. Indeed, this is why many of the circles within your side of life are not working to bring forward loved ones or to provide evidence of life after death. Instead, they are working with technology. They are working with your sciences. They are working to learn and to understand what is capable within your side of life. And within this research, within this development, you will develop mediums that will progress in the ways that you have spoken. Then this can be applied to providing the evidence of mediumship.
Thank you, Abraham. We use the words frequency and level. Oh, I lost it. There. To refer to spirit on the other side, where you are. Is there a better way for us to use that language?
Indeed, it is good language to use. It is incorrect if you look at the broader picture. But it is good language to use in your current understanding, in your current awareness. Indeed, awareness, perception, would be better words to utilize. But within your current understanding, frequency, vibration, fits the structure, fits the model of what it is you are learning.
Thank you. somebody asked what can be done to reduce or eliminate the cause of climate change. What could we do now? What would be most important? What could we do now?
Indeed, as I look at your timelines, you have already passed many of the barriers that must have been reached in order to counteract what was coming. Indeed, because you have passed these barriers, much of the damage that has occurred and will continue to occur is unstoppable with your current technology and with your current understanding. It is only by going through the experience that you will begin to understand and develop the technology necessary to counteract and undo the damage. But indeed, as I look forward in your timeline and the lessons that your planet has to learn, you are in a runaway scenario. And it is not about now preventing the changes to your planet, but more to adapt and to learn with them. And indeed, mankind is so stubborn that it is only by wanting to explore other planets that you will begin to develop the technology necessary to help your own planet. You are too stubborn to focus upon your own planet and to deal with the issues at home. And indeed, this does not just apply to your planet. This seems to apply to mankind in general.
Thank you. The UK government are greedy and corrupt. Oops. We feel powerless. How can we make changes when they are so rich and powerful?
Indeed, you do not want to overthrow a tyrant because you will just end up with another tyrant. You must start closer to home. As I have spoken earlier, if you wish to make changes within your reality, you must start within yourself. Rather than look at your government as corrupt and the need to be overthrown, try to understand the energy of what the lessons are that you are to learn. Indeed, once you can understand the lessons, the control this energy has over you, then you can start to direct the energy around you to work for you rather than against you. And with that, if you can get enough within your set of life to focus on that intention and that awareness, then you will see the changes that you want. Otherwise, you would simply, by starting your wars, by trying to make your changes, you would simply add a situation where you have another government who ends up carrying out the same instructions, the same realities as your current government.
Yes, thank you. Have we created collective consciousness as a grid of frequency and vibration?
Indeed, you have your world carbon, as we like to call it. You as a human race have created the world that you experience. So you as a human race pay for that energy, exchange that energy, work within that energy. Indeed, you exist within your own reality, but you coexist with those around you who you allow into your reality, who you allow to influence your reality. So indeed, there are many modalities within your set of life that talk about structuring your life by focusing on the energy, by directing a vision board of what you want to achieve. But what is often left out of the equation is others that you allow to influence your energy, to influence your gravity, and to take you off course.
Thank you. Are there multiple timelines or paths in life on Earth, or is it a myth?
Indeed, if we look at your sphere of existence, the material realm, it has many branches, many directions. In order for everything to be experienced, every opportunity must be possible. But indeed, it is not yourself choosing to go left or to go right. It is a different personality that up to that point has carried out the same choices, the same lessons and experiences, and then chooses to diverge at that point.
So do they then create a different timeline? Or they're also were always turning left while I turn right?
Indeed, it is not that you create another timeline. The timeline already exists. Just you have had very similar patterns up to that point, and that is where the point branched away.
Okay, thank you. Do children who transition to the other side miss their parents? And is it important to the children to connect with and visit their parents until they are reunited with them?
Indeed, it is not just the children. Anyone who returns to my side of life will often wait for the loved ones known to them within your sphere to return to my side of life before they continue with their journey. So indeed, if there is a bond of love, that bond of love will wait for you, will connect with you when you return to my side of life. Do not worry that your children will be waiting around for years, because as I have spoken earlier, time is very different for us.
Okay, so you gave this person an answer before about his business, so he just followed on from that. For my speaking and coaching business, would it be for my highest and best to offer either spiritual unfoldment in smaller private retreats like settings, or to lead openly with spiritual unfoldment as the core of my brand and my work?
Indeed, my friends, they focus your energy. When it comes to talks, when it comes to lectures, there you would do well to speak to the masses. When it comes to education and treating, your energy is better suited for smaller groups as well as one-on-one work. So indeed, I would advise you to look at both. Where you want to reach the masses, where you need to educate, where you need to speak, you would do well to do this en masse. But where you truly want to educate, do this in the smaller groups.
Will artificial intelligence become a threat to the human race?
Indeed, you may find that intelligence becomes a risk to human race, as you do not know intelligence. But indeed, as I look down your timeline, I dare say that there are many other things that will affect mankind long before artificial intelligence becomes a danger. And indeed, as you progress with your artificial intelligence, it will actually be more of a benefit to mankind than a hindrance.
Oh, wow. Okay, thank you. Buildings are constructed with more metal. Does this hinder the ability to communicate to or from the other side?
We are not limited by bandwidth. We do not struggle to speak to the medium if there is a bit of lead in the wall. So indeed, this is more an earthly construct with limitations to the physical form in regards to many of your technologies, but it does not interfere with us working with the medium in most parameters.
Thank you. How can you heal someone from chronic pain issues whose pain appears to be psychosomatic, so to speak? I
We
can't.
speak broadly, as every individual is different. We would target the parts of the brain which are psychosomatically stimulating this response, which the body interprets as pain, and we would look to identify what is stimulating that response and to correct that imbalance, which would then stop the response.
Thank you. A question regarding healing. Do we have the ability to grow back a part of a tooth that broke? I am interested to know if our minds is unlimited in healing our bodies.
Indeed, the physical form already has the capability to regrow any part that it has created. Your body built itself. It has the recipe to repair itself. However, you also have built-in limitations, which in time can be overcome. One issue that you currently have is if you were to lose a finger, give it enough time as you experience time, you would regrow the finger. However, you would also bleed to death in the process. So your body's defense is to create scarring. The scarring prevents the limb in question, such as the finger, from regrowing. But indeed, as your science and as your medicine progresses, you will learn to tap into the ability to regrow the limb without developing the scar tissue and without bleeding to death as you experience death.
Mm-hmm. What is the karmic effect, if any, of hurt caused by others, to others by people who are mentally ill?
It is not so much about hurt or good deeds, for indeed there is a famous phrase within your side of life that no good deed goes unpunished. And there is truth to this. You must understand that every action within your side of life has a reaction. It is not good, it is not bad, it is about balance. And indeed, good and bad is about perspective. If there is modality of the mind, this is left behind when you return to my side of life. But indeed, even if you have chosen to manifest the mentality of the mind, there will still be energy exchanges which must be rebalanced at some point and in some way.
Okay, thank you. Can you please explain time slips here in the physical world?
Indeed, at times, as you experience time, forgive me the pun, it is simply a loss of awareness within the conscious mind, or the conscious mind becoming aware of extra information which it perceives as a distortion in the time field. At other times, as we work with your energy, as we work with your awareness, you can temporarily move beyond the limitations of the perception. And indeed, again, your mind would understand this as a distortion in time.
Oh, thank you. My mother
talk about time, you must understand that the conscious mind only operates on a conscious level in local time. You have higher dimensions, higher time, which flows not just forwards, but backwards, and at a different rate than the human mind currently understands or perceives.
Okay. And so if we focus on it, like, this time when we're waiting for something, time goes so slow. And when we are experience something we love, it goes so quick. Is that related? Or is that just our perception?
That is more a time dilation trick of the mind rather than change of awareness. But it is a good starting point for the emphasis of what we were talking about.
Okay, thank you. My mother is ill with cancer. She's elderly, afraid, and is affecting her mind. She's angry and argues most of the time. How can I comfort her?
Imagine the situation. We would advise to send energy to the person in question, to work absently rather than directly, trying to deal with this issue. If you would like us to send healing to the person in question, we shall do so.
Thank you. Yes. Please do.
And if it's afterwards, I will inspire the mind of a remedy which will help in the situation.
Okay. So Leslie, we meet you later on to ask again. A personal question. If we have a life of challenges, physical, etc., how can we stop the challenges when we are unclear of the root cause?
Again, there is a misconception here. You are not wanting to remove the challenges, for there is a lesson and an experience to be gained from this. Rather than fight against it, try and sit in the power and become aware of what is the lesson. The sooner you can get to the root of what it is to learn and to learn that experience, the sooner you can move beyond the experience and then let go of any symptoms that are manifesting because of that experience or because of the lack of trying to avoid the experience. And with that, my friends, I should put down the medium to it.
Thank you, Abraham.
Unfortunately, my mum's very, very poorly. She's got cancer and a bad heart. She was very sort of young mum, even at 87, out and about and having a full life. And all of a sudden that's changed for her. And she seems very stuck in anger, resentment, fear, and nothing I or anyone else can say to her is helpful. We're looking after her, we're caring for her, me and my sister. It's really hard, and it's really hard to see her changing into a very different person.
Okay. Just checking with the boss.
And it was obviously meant to be that I jumped on late. I didn't know you were on. I thought, oh, this looks good. And I've never seen Gary in trance before. And it was obviously meant to be, because it's been a very difficult day.
So Abraham's saying that you need to tackle it from two areas. So he's saying on the one hand, it's fear-based with her, that she doesn't want to address it. So that's coming out as anger, as lashing out. And that's fear within herself. So in that kind of treatment-wise, you'd want to do like a self-healing, something like EFT or TFT would be really good for her, something that she can tap out, because If she has to put thought into it, she's going to go against it because of the fear-based. So something as simple like tapping might be ideal for her in that regards, or that type of healing.
Yeah.
Treatment-wise, oh, what's that? That is, oh, he's playing psychic charades. Come on, I know what that is.
Use your words, say.
Okay, so that's different. So one thing he would recommend for her is something called slippery elm. I'm not saying she should take it, do your own research, but something called slippery elm. Now normally we would use that for gut problems, but he thinks it's going to help her. And the other one is, that's it, rescue remedy. One of the backflower remedies would also be good.
Of course, I never thought of rest. The only thing is, she can't have alcohol. But I've got the feeling she'll say, no, I can't take that, because she feels so funny about everything she eats that anything funny she wouldn't be able to face. So can she have that in a slippery elm in a tablet form?
Yes, you can get slippery elm as a tablet.
Yeah.
If you don't want to take it as a powder. Rescue remedy, I know, comes as a liquid, or you can get it as like gummies. I think they come in now.
Okay, great.
The other thing now I know what leaf it is. So you could look at something like THC, whether
Yeah.
it's your tablet.
Yeah. There's not a lot she'll do if I suggest it.
So a good thing you can do with slippery elm, especially anyone who's got like digestive issues, get some Manuka honey. You put the slippery elm basically out on the table. You squeeze little balls of honey into it, and then you roll it. Let it dry, and they'll become little suckable sweets.
Oh, fantastic.
I did it for my nan when she had esophagus cancer. So she would just suck on them, and it would take away all the pain in her esophagus.
Okay, slippery elm and rescue. Thank you so much.
I have Vivax malaria that's in the liver.
Okay. So I'm just checking. I know of a remedy for that. Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. So there's something you could again look into. I'm not saying take it, do your own research. You could look in something called Miracle Mineral Supplement. So the guy who discovered it tried it first with malaria. He gave it to 10,000 people with malaria, and for whatever reason, they went into remission. He then tried it on terminal cancer patients, and a high majority of them went into remission. I've tried it. I took it myself when I went to India to prevent getting malaria. It smells like swimming pool water. But it doesn't taste too bad, but it does smell like swimming pool water. The other thing he's recommending for you in general for your immune system is something called colloidal silver, which is the world's best antibiotic.
Where do you get the mineral?
So you can get it online. It's not expensive.
Okay.
What country are you in?
I'm in the USA, but this keeps flaring up, and I was told IV quinine. What does he think about that? IV.
So in your case, and this is why he recommends the colloidal silver as well, in your case, it may lead to more inflammation or more side effects from what else is already going on in the body. Not from the product, but just generally how your body will respond to it.
All right, thank you.
A dear friend of mine is deaf in one ear, has been since childhood. The other ear, since she had COVID, when she blew her nose, it sort of popped, and she can't hear from the other ear now. Any suggestions?
Ooh, that's a good one. Let's try it. Really? Okay. So Abraham thinks it's actually linked to her eustachian tubes and the lymphatic system rather than nerves. So nice simple thing for that. Get some Epsom salts, put them in hot water, dip a flannel into it, and when you go to bed at night, just put in the flannel behind the ear.
Fantastic.
Just leave it there while she sleeps. That should drain or stimulate the lymphatics to drain.
Great. Thank you for that.
Pleasure.
I hope I'm not too late to ask this question. I tried to get in earlier with a healing question. Gary, thank you very much for your talents and your abilities and your sharing with us. I was hoping the subject would come back to, does anyone have any healing questions? Because I do.
Yeah, go for it. Well, how can I help?
I just had my third joint replacement.
Okay.
That was the shoulder. And I'm fearing having a knee replacement coming up. And I'm wondering what's going on with my joints and what can I do to heal them?
Okay, so according to Abraham, not diagnosing, so you have an inherited weakness from the mother side of your family as far as the joints are concerned, with inflammation around the joints. So in your case, it's the liver we need to treat it from, because the inflammation be caused from the liver into the body is attacking different joints at different times. You've also got a lot more fluid retention in the body as well. Have you got a bath or a shower at home?
A what?
Have you got a bath or a shower at home?
A bathtub.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
A shower. I can't get into the bathtub.
That's okay. So one thing I'd recommend is get some Epsom salts, put them in hot water, and just put your feet in them for about 20 minutes. Doing that maybe 2 or 3 times a week. It's just going to help draw the excess fluid out of the body. And what you also need is we need to detox the liver, but in a gentle way, because if we do it too extreme, your body's going to just put more inflammation in there. So a nice gentle detox you can do for your liver. Get some castor oil. You don't need to drink it, don't worry. Put it on a pad and stick it over your liver, which is basically just aim for your ribs on the right-hand side. Do that overnight. Do it for 2 nights in a row, and then do it again a week later. And what it will do is it will stimulate your liver to basically flush itself out.
You were wonderful. So much.
And then some healing on yourself, just working on that hereditary weakness that comes from the mother side of your family.
Could you say that again, please?
Oh, and yeah, and healing wise, if you're doing self-healing or anything, then just trying to address what you inherit from the mother's side, which is also still coming from the liver.
And that's with the Epsom salts, is it, with Gary?
So if you were going to do, say, self-healing or something, then you would focus on the liver area to try and address that hereditary issue.
She, by the way, had 2 knee replacements.
Yeah, you're spot on there.
Where all the inflammation is really attacking the joints.
Thank you very much.
Gary, I'm just wondering, with that Epsom salts in the feet, would that help my lady with the ear problem? Since you mentioned
so in her case, we want to put it directly on the lymph gland overnight, so it's going to slowly just open that up. If somebody does need to detox the body, then bathing in Epsom salts is good. If you can't bathe because you haven't got a bath or you can't get in the bath, then putting your feet into it is a great way to stimulate the body to detox the lymph glands.
Sounds wonderful. Anybody else got a healing question before we let Gary go off to bed?
Gary, I found, hi darling. Listen, I found when I sit in the healing circle, every time my right arm is taken over, it starts to flicker in the hand, then the arm moves around. Half the time I'm not even aware till it's halfway up. Sometimes it'll just scan the sitters that are there. Sometimes it'll point to somebody to come forward. Why is that happening with every healing circle, that the right arm is taken over?
So they probably want to start using you to carry out the healing through connection. So they might just be starting with the right arm just to, one, for them to get used to having that control, but your body as well to learn what it's like to give them that control.
Okay.
Which is good. If you don't fear at all, then just get something like rolled up socks, and in your other hand, while they're controlling your right hand, just squeeze that so that your mind is focusing on the left hand, not what spirit's doing with the right hand. And that should give them more control.
Oh, excellent idea. While I've got you there, another question. A couple of healings that I've done, well, as a healing conduit, I found my body has a certain reaction, or my arm has a certain reaction when it hits a certain area of a certain disease, and I've been accurate with that. What's happening there? Do you know? And is it just for one particular disease, or is it something that, you know, I haven't been able to experiment to see if it's with other diseases?
So from a medical intuitive point of view, you would build a database. So you would get to learn what different things feel like. So how a broken bone feels, how kidney disease. So it's probably that you're building that database, but in your case, you're getting a physical response to it. Which, if you start to pay attention to that, it may explore more into being able to distinguish between the different things.
Okay.
But it's good that you're doing that.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like the whole arm. Well, it's not the whole arm. It's from the elbow down. The arm's not moving except for the elbow down, and it really moves like a jackhammer. That's what it's like. And it's in my mind, I see something like concrete, and I can see it slowly going through until a peak of light comes through. And I find that quite interesting. It's only with a certain disease at this stage.
Yeah. So again, as you explore that, you'll start to build your database of what different things around that mean, and then that will expand from that.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
I was wondering if you could give any advice on tinnitus.
Tinnitus, yes. Do you know what's causing it? Do you know if it's more? Okay. Check with the boss. Okay, so in your case, it seems to be nerve related. So there is a technique. Are you on my Facebook? I just sent it to Laurie.
No.
Laurie, if you can send it to you as well, I need to. Are you on Facebook?
Yeah.
If you can shoot me a message on Facebook, there is an exercise you can do. It's hard to demonstrate, but there's a video of it. I can send you over. A very simple technique, which actually really helps with tinnitus.
Thanks very much.
Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. My question was about tinnitus as well. And I'm not sure how it started or anything. I think I heard Spirit tell me the other day what to do, but I'm not sure if it was my imagination or not.
So, so Linda, I would say in your case, though, yours is nerve related as well, but you've also got issues with the hairs in the ear as well that carry the sound. So the exercise is going to help with the nerves. In regards to the hairs in the ear, oh, what is that? That is really. Yeah, shoot me a message on Facebook, and I'll give you an exercise, something you can do for the hairs in the ear. Will help you with that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.